Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I'm reviewing in my car because the house is occupied and I'm also recovering from a bit of a cold, so if I sound weird, that's what that is. But let's get into today's review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran. So I checked this book out because the art looked really cool, really interesting, and I decided to give it a try, see what it was like, and I loved this book. So this is a 5-star read for me. I highly recommend, and I'm going to get into why, but if you haven't read this book or haven't checked this book out, please do because it was really good. So I wasn't really sure what this was. I figured it was kind of a fairy tale just judging from the title, Snow Glass Apples, but I wasn't really sure where the book was going to go or how it was going to be played out, but I really enjoyed it. This is a darker retelling of the Snow White tale, and it has beautiful art, as I mentioned before, and it is also, as mentioned, darker. And I tend to not enjoy books that lean towards the more dark or I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, just darker side. I don't tend to enjoy it. That's not usually what I gravitate towards, and if I had known this was going to be darker, I may not have checked it out. That being said, I'm glad I did, or I'm glad I didn't know that it was darker, because I wound up really enjoying this book. This book was very enjoyable to me despite not enjoying things that veer a little darker. So if you are listening to this and think, well, I don't really enjoy anything that's darker, I would ask you to give this a read. I wouldn't consider this excessively violent or excessively gory, but don't be dissuaded by the fact that it tends to be a little darker. As you read through the books, you kind of, I think maybe from the title or from some of the stuff you see at the beginning, you may initially pick up on the fact that this is Snow White. I personally didn't really fully, well, the title kind of gave me some clues about it, but like as you move through the story, you see the Snow White story being turned on its head with this darker view. There's some disturbing elements. The prince is a very disturbing individual in this book, and there are other elements that make it a little darker, and that Snow White story is being turned on its head in a very interesting and unique way. Combined with the beautiful art, combined with the storytelling, makes it just an absolutely 5-star read. I loved it. Something to keep in mind is, although it kind of looks like a fun little kids book, this book is not for kids. That's something the artist discusses in the back, where they actually kind of cut a cover design because, quote, to the right, another unused cover sketch, which Neil wisely decided looked too much like a young adult novel. We didn't want this book to appeal to kids for obvious reasons. After reading the book, I agree this is probably not a kid's book, or if you do want to allow your kids to read it, make sure you look through it first to fully understand all the content in it, because although it looks like a fun little kid's book, I would not classify this as children's. Definitely darker, definitely for an adult audience, definitely not targeted for children. So make sure if you're going to let your kids read it, you read it first to make sure you're okay with them consuming all the content in this. That being said, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great read. I highly recommend this book. If you've read it, or if you know anyone else who's read it, or if you have any thoughts on it, please let me know, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I think the artist did an absolutely fabulous job. I actually wonder if this is the same one who did his work with the Chivalry, the same artist who did work with the Chivalry. I'll have to go and look it up, because really, well, see, this is kind of a dark scene. Almost all of it's kind of dark. But the art is just beautiful, the storytelling's beautiful, and the Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran duo does a very good job combining their skills together in this book. So yeah, 5-star read, really great, really glad I picked it out, and something that veers a little darker that I personally did not mind, which is always a pleasant surprise, and I'm glad that I went out and checked out this book because I've discovered a new great read that I would not have otherwise. So give it a read, let me know what you think about it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.